Hello and welcome. I'm Saeed from StoryPlanet.net. Dive right into the essence of the most captivating books without reading them cover to cover. Whether you're on the go, at the gym, or just relaxing at home, we offer you a unique and enriching listening experience. Today, we are exploring the book, The 100 Years' War on Palestine, a creation by Rashid Khalidi. The 100 Years' War on Palestine, 2020, provides a thorough and insightful examination of one of the world's most misinterpreted regions. This timely book narrates Palestinian history through the lens of Palestinians. Before we delve into these revelations, it's interesting to note that Rashid Khalidi, a Palestinian-American historian, holds the Edward Said Professorship of Modern Arab Studies at Columbia University. He is also the editor of the Journal of Palestine Studies and author of books like Palestinian Identity, Brokers of Deceit, and The Iron Cage. With 7 key ideas to unveil, brace yourself for a deep dive into this captivating book. On StoryPlanet.net. To start, a Palestinian explores the history of Palestine from their perspective and reflects on its significance. The content team at Summaries presents insights on the history of the Middle East, particularly the Israel-Palestine conflict, from the viewpoint of Palestinians. It covers Palestinian history from 1917 onwards, highlighting British colonialism, diplomatic challenges faced by the PLO, and potential movements for peace. The information is drawn from academic Rashid Khalidi's work, incorporating archival research, primary sources, and personal accounts. Key idea number 1. British rule accelerated the colonization of Palestine. In 1899, Mayor Yusuf Dia warned Theodore Herzl about the consequences of Zionism in the Middle East due to colonial subjugation. Ottoman rule ended in 1917, where the British took control and issued the Balfour Declaration, supporting Jewish settlements in Palestine. Palestinians sought independence but were ignored. In 1922, the League of Nations issued the Mandate for Palestine, laying the groundwork for Jewish self-governance without considering the Arab majority, leading to rising tensions by the late 1920s. Key idea number 2. The Nakba resulted in the violent displacement of many Palestinians from their homes. In the 1930s, British-controlled Palestine saw tensions rise between Zionists and Arabs. Following failed attempts at partitioning, the United Nations in 1947 resolved to split Palestine into Jewish and Arab states. However, the partition led to conflict, with Zionist militias displacing tens of thousands of Arabs, leading to the Nakba catastrophe. In 1948, Israel was declared a state, leading to the displacement of over 700,000 Palestinians, creating a new political landscape in the region. Key idea number 3. The Six-Day War led to Israeli dominance and sparked renewed Palestinian resistance. The Six-Day War of 1967 lasted a week. Israel swiftly defeated its neighbors, capturing territories like the West Bank and the Sinai Peninsula. The conflict established Israeli dominance, but also reawakened Palestinian resistance. The US supported Israel, and the UN Resolution 242 solidified Israeli control over territories like the West Bank, ignoring Palestine. Despite this, the war revitalized the movement for Palestinian liberation, with groups like Fatah becoming prominent in advocating for Palestinian recognition. Key idea number 4. Lebanon War impacted the PLO but strengthened the Palestinian movement. The 1982 Lebanon War between Israel and the PLO aimed to crush Palestinian nationalism, with Israel conducting a fierce assault with the US's support. While the PLO was forced to withdraw from Lebanon, the war resulted in heavy civilian casualties and a massacre at refugee camps. Despite its partial success, the conflict galvanized Palestinian resistance, shifting the struggle to the occupied territories in the following years. Key idea number 5. The Intifada led Israel into negotiations that resulted in an ill-conceived treaty. The First Intifada, which began in 1987 after a tragic event in Gaza, was a response to years of oppression in the occupied territories under Israeli control. The uprising involved civil disobedience and widespread support, but was met with disproportionate violence from Israel. It eventually led to negotiations that resulted in the Oslo Accords, which were seen as detrimental to Palestinian interests. Yasser Arafat celebrated the accords, but they proved problematic for Palestine in the long run. Key idea number 6. Israeli oppression led to the emergence of militant groups like Hamas. Life in the occupied territories, a decade after the Oslo Accords, has deteriorated for Palestinians due to Israeli barriers, restrictions, and economic hardships. The rise of militant groups like Hamas was fueled by ongoing Israeli oppression. The Second Intifada was marked by increased violence, including suicide bombings by Hamas. Tensions escalated further when Hamas won control of the Palestinian Authority in 2006, leading to Israeli sieges and incursions into Gaza, causing widespread destruction and casualties. Israel implemented heavy military retaliation under the Dahiyah Doctrine, while Hamas responded with rocket attacks. Israeli actions resulted in significant damage and potential war crimes, with a large disparity in casualties between the two sides. Key idea number 7. Palestine's future is uncertain, yet the possibility of peace and justice remains. Colonial occupations end in 3 ways: elimination of indigenous people, expulsion of colonizing power, or dismantling of colonial supremacy toward reconciliation. Palestine's future is uncertain, with peace and justice still possible. Historical injustices, such as the Balfour Declaration, and recent political decisions like Trump's recognition of Jerusalem contribute to the ongoing conflict. Israeli policies favoring Jewish self-determination marginalize Palestinians. Palestinian resistance, including the BDS movement, aims to pressure Israel to recognize Palestinian interests. Progress necessitates flexibility and solidarity among all Palestinian factions and allies, considering the deep emotional connections both Israelis and Palestinians have to their homelands. In conclusion, the main message is that Palestinians have been struggling against an unjust settler colonial movement for over a century, supported historically by European powers and presently by the United States. Palestinians persist in fighting for recognition and full rights in their homeland, aiming for a resolution where everyone in the region can live, work, travel, and exercise self-determination. Thank you for listening to this summary. If you enjoyed this exploration, we invite you to discover other fascinating books on storyplanet.net. Don't wait any longer. A multitude of books, stories, and knowledge await you there. See you soon on storyplanet.net.